Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Attamis here with a video of sorts. This is kind of like, I guess you want to call it a podcast, but not really a podcast because this is definitely not going to be like podcast length, but it's definitely something I want to turn into a podcast eventually. Um, so this is just the first video. I don't have a title for this specific video or series of video, if I even said that right. So this will just be called like Games with Attamis for right now. And this is episode one. And I want to talk about the next gen systems that's going to be coming out in the fall. Yeah, real exciting times. Man, the only real like experience I remember like learning about new consoles was when the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out. I was working steadily, At the time I was young. I just got out of like college, and it's like I had money, my own money. Back in the 360 days, I was still in high school. That's like I had to. Hey, mom, can I borrow some dough for this? Very expensive console that you're probably going to say no, but pretty please. So when the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out, this is when I had my own loot. I was watching E3, all the press, conferences and events, and reading like every every article I can like read because I was just so excited because this is something that I'm doing personally. So it's about that time again, and the feeling is somewhat still the same. We've all gotten a little older. Our money has gotten a little different. We're paying for more stuff, and we have to be a little more cautious with our money. So let's dive into it, and let's discuss our thoughts and stuff. People in the comment area, if you want to carry it and join in. I don't know how you can join in since it's only me talking. First thing I want to talk about is the price of both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. So things that like determine a price is the parts that go into the each console itself. That's how they decide what price they want to set for the console. So we've heard a little bit about both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, but let's rewind a little bit. So when the PlayStation 4 came out, it was retail price at $400 or $399.99. As well as the PlayStation 4 Pro was also $399.99, and the Xbox One and Xbox One X was woo wee. Xbox One was $499.99, which absolutely broke my heart because at the time I'm coming from a 360. I did not have a PlayStation 3. I never did. So I was going into that generation of consoles expecting, oh, okay, what's Xbox going to do? Because that's probably where I'm going with. That's where most of my friends were. Well, they were with the 360. I assume they were going with the Xbox at the time. And when E3 rolled around and they said that price, my heart crushed because the Xbox One retailed at $499.99, which I believe later was reduced because that was just, oh boy, that was expensive. That was just out my realm. I was working a part-time job at Sears, and that just was not happening. 400 was a lot, but it was something that it seemed reasonable and affordable at the time. Like the income I was bringing from working at the place I was working at. Um, Now we fast forward a little bit to now, since they've both spoke a little bit about each of their prospective consoles. I honestly think the PlayStation 5 might be 4, maybe 5. It could hit that 5. Um, I want to honestly say I think it's more or less maybe 5, or maybe I don't know if consoles. You never really hear about consoles doing the in between 4 and 5. But maybe I want to say 5 to be safe because I'm just not sure. Like they've talked about like their storage being an SSD, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm not really I'm not too sure about the particulars of what they spoke about. Their you know what goes into a console specifically. But I know they said something about the SSD or something like that being a hybrid, and SSDs are not cheap. Like that's very expensive. Um, Especially if you go past the 500 gigabyte mark, that gets a little up there, and I think we're past the point where consoles can do 500 in there for storage. So many games already hit the like 80 mark, 90 mark. Some even hit the 100 mark, which is that's just crazy to me. I think we have to get a 1 terabyte in each. Will that happen? I have no idea. If it can keep the cost just a little bit down, I don't know. I just don't see it being 500. For the and it goes for the Series X. For storage, I don't know. For cost, I'm thinking six, the big six, 600, double zeros. Everything we've seen, I mean, the interview we read, like it's supposed to be the Series X is supposed to be 2 times as powerful, or it's supposed to amount to like two Xbox One X's, which Xbox retailed at 500, which is I'm not too sure where that what the price for an Xbox One is right now, but I'm thinking six. I think it's going to be 600. Um, Again, maybe in between that, I'm not too sure. It depends on what parts they put into the console, what how much the console itself costs to produce. Like, say if a console is like 300, then you're probably gonna pay 350, 400 for console. If it costs 450 for a console to be made, then we're looking at 500, 550 maybe. I don't think they would like tack on $100 on there as the final sales price. I'm not too sure. I think they would tack on like 50 and make it 500 if it costs 450 for the console to be produced. I'm not too sure how any of that stuff works. That's just me speculating. But I think yeah, PlayStation 5 between 400 and 500, and then Series X between 500, which I'm not too sure, and then my gut tells me 600, but you need to put like that in quotation marks because apparently Microsoft might have a cheaper model, which we'll get into a little bit later. So once we have like the price down and you've already got your money in hand throwing it at the screen, next thing you want to know is games, because you don't want to take this very, very expensive hardware and look at it. So now you want to know, okay, what's the launch games that's coming out for both of these consoles? So launch games, we do have a idea, kind of. Games are starting to come out the crevices into the light, letting the world know, they exist. For PlayStation 5, we know Godfall by Gearbox is coming, and Outsiders by People Can Fly. Both, I believe, are coming launch day. I'm not too sure. It's just, I just know they're coming holiday 2020, which I'm assuming that those are going to be launch games. Both games look pretty cool. For the Series X, we got uh, Halo Infinite by 343 Industries and Skybox Labs, and we have I can never pronounce this right. Sasuna Saga Hellblade 2 by Ninja Theory, which my goodness, that game looks crazy. Video Games Awards, man, that was pretty hype. I enjoyed that. I've never played Hellblade at all, but this is definitely pulling me into that direction. I know uh, the first game is I think on everything at this point. I want to say PlayStation 4, Xbox, and the Switch, which I've been pretty heavy into as of lately. The Nintendo Switch. I might check it out. Looks really interesting. Um, so we know Microsoft made quite a few. They acquired quite a few studios over like the past like 2 years. Undead Labs, Playground Games, Ninja Theory, Obsidian. Um, all of them make great, great games, and this will definitely. I'm not too sure if they will. Like, how long have their games been in the oven for Microsoft? I'm not sure, but I definitely think Xbox first year, I think the next, like the first 2 years, I think Microsoft might have some stuff to show off, and I'm really looking forward to what those studios are, what they got cooking, what they're making. I just absolutely can't wait. And then Sony acquired Insomniac Games, which I honestly did not know that they were not part of Sony until they made Sunset Overdrive for the Xbox. When they showed Sunset Overdrive, that's when I learned, hey, the studio's not part of Sony, which for the longest I thought they were. So that's absolutely great. Spider-Man is doing really well. I know after Spider-Man, I just know Sony wasn't gonna let that one slip. So that's also a great purchase, man. Insomniac Games, man, thumbs up to Sony. I, you don't want to let a studio like that, you know, I guess roam free is like the wrong choice of words, but you want great talent to produce games on your console, and I don't blame them from wanting, hey, come over here and kick your shoes off and make some games for us. I respect it. Um, I definitely, we know PlayStation or Sony is going to come with the heat day one. It's just, it's a wait, and I can't wait to see what they have. Launch games are going to be a little different, or games that we play, because we know both consoles are reportedly supposed to be backwards compatible. I'm not too sure if there was like something that set that in stone, or if that's just speculation on my part and I'm misremembering. But we will have games that, our PlayStation 4s and our PlayStation 5 games, we could. Wait, did I just say PlayStation? Yeah, PlayStation 4, I'm sorry, and Xbox One games, we can play them on next generation. And, man, it's going to be great, A game that might not, run so hot on my base. I don't have a PlayStation 4 Pro, but on my PlayStation, 4 that doesn't run so great, if I decide to go with the PlayStation 5, that might fix it with a quick patch, because we know, they're not going to. I hope they don't do it. I'm pretty sure both platforms said no to charging people for like what do you call the like remastered upgrades, like a patch or whatever. It's great to know that playing it on the next console will make it so much better. I That's great. That's great for a lot of us. It's great for people who don't have a lot of money, or like are saving and can only afford the console itself. It's great that both platforms will have options for those people who cannot really, you know, afford, the games that's going to be coming out day one. If you're an Xbox owner, I don't have an Xbox One, but you have Game Pass, and I'm sure Game Pass will roll over into Series X. That is a plethora of games right there that you can play. I'm sure day one on Series X, and same thing with PlayStation 4. I'm sure PlayStation Now will, I hope, be supported day one on PlayStation 5. And I'm sorry if I'm getting my words jumbled up. My mind is like going like 100 miles a minute. Uh, yeah, but I'm sure that'll probably be their day one. That's also, if you pay for that, a great source of games right there, and you can hold yourself off while saving up to buy some of these great games that's coming as well. And we also know that I think Microsoft, their uh their games day one are on Game Pass, which is insane to me. I'm really interested on how that actually works. Like, how does Microsoft make money off of that? I know it's like, I think it's $15 a month on just basic Game Pass, and then if you include PC, I think it's like I want to say 17 or 18. I'm not too sure. I don't, like I said, I don't have an Xbox or like a PC that I would even feel comfortable even trying to attempt to play those type of games on it. But I'm really interested. And that Game Pass seems absolutely great. So next up, let's talk about design. So back at the Video Game Awards in December, Microsoft showed off their new. I shouldn't say they didn't show off, but we got to see a picture of the Series X, and while people like slammed it, it did get quite a bit praise, especially for me. Oh my lord, I love that form. It looks like a computer tower, but I wasn't necessarily seeing the computer tower. I was seeing all the custom designs you can do with that. It just my like it's insane. Like I was thinking of that one game, Ori and the Blind Forest, I think it's called. A custom Series X that looks like that would be absolutely sick. Um, but I do understand some people's concerns with the design of that console because it looks like it's supposed to sit, you know, straight up, which a lot of people, TV stands, do not support a console like that. Mine does because my I built my TV shelf. I think I said console shelf. Might as well be a console shelf. That's all. That's the only thing that sits on my TV stand is just a bunch of consoles. But when I built my TV stand, I built it wrong, and I had a shelf that I just could not use because the holes were on the other side or something like that. It was a shelf I couldn't use. So I have a space that is absolutely perfect for that Series X, and I just love that computer tower design and the the I think it's green at the top. It illuminates at the top, which is green. I wonder if you could change the colors or something like that. It's really cool looking, and I guess some guy on Twitter, I saw the pictures leak the what the Series X looks like, which is a whoops, because they include the serial number, which is a double oops. And I don't even want to think about what happened to that person. Well, that it sounds like one of those situations where you got people who like to say, "Hey, my dad works at Nintendo," and it's like someone said, "Prove it." Well, they proved it. They took a picture of their Xbox, like, "Hey, my dad works at Microsoft." See, and included the serial number, which was a big oops. I didn't really follow up on that story to know if it was fake or not. I do know someone did actually register that console on their Microsoft account, and it did take. So I don't know if that's a sign that it is real. To me, that points that hey, that's real. Someone, that's a oops. Um, but yeah, that was real interesting. That's pretty much the console I'm kind of leaning forward to as of right now. But I guess I'll get into that later. Uh, PlayStation 5 design we have not seen yet, but I really don't think it'll be too much of a drastic change from the PlayStation 4 or what the I should say what the PlayStation 4 Pro looks like. Um, we've seen dev kits of it, and it looks it looks like something, but I don't think that'll be the final retail design. If it is, I'm all for it to be honest, because that's different. That's really different. That's a unique design. Will people like it? I'm not sure. But I'm all for like a drastic change. I just don't honestly think it'll be too different from what the PlayStation 4 Pro looks like. Um, so the last bit we have to talk about is Xbox Lockhart, which is supposed to be a cheaper version, a diskless version of the Series X. Um, so when I think about a cheaper version of the Series X, I think about an Xbox One X, Because remember, I believe that and I might be absolutely wrong on this, but there was an interview with Phil Spencer where he said that the Series X was supposed to be, I guess, 2 times as powerful as an Xbox One X. Well, I'm thinking that's an Xbox Series X, not quite. I mean, I'm sorry, an Xbox One X. So not quite an Xbox One X. Of course, I'm sure it'd be like slightly upgrade. You know, the Xbox One X will get like an upgrade or a revision or whatever you want to call it, and that's what I think is the Xbox Lockhart. So but that also I'm interested in because when I look at my console games, I've noticed, especially for my PlayStation 4, that a good chunk of them are digital. Like, I don't really. When I finish a game, you know, it's usually like a sale happening. Like, I usually take my time with my games because I mainly play RPGs and stuff like that. Games that require a lot of hours to be put into, and usually, I can restart a game in a heartbeat, especially if it's good. I've played like Persona 5 like 4 times now, and I have an absurd amount of hours, into that game. So when I'm ready to buy a game, it's usually a sale is happening, like a flash sale or something, and that's when I, browse, and see what games that are I'm interested in, but also at like not $60. So having a discless version doesn't bother me as so much it would have bothered me on the PlayStation 4. Like if they would have introduced, like if both console manufacturers Sony and Microsoft introduced that in 2013, I I don't think I would have bought into it, because back then I was really big into buying my games physical. I like, seeing something on my shelf. But now with like sales happening so frequently and games coming out like not even being 1 month old and they're already getting like reduced in price, it makes me a little apprehensive to buy a day one game physically, you know, at full price, $60. So, I'm honestly, I'm in for a discless version. Um, on my Nintendo Switch, I still buy physical. Like, I don't know why. It's just I don't really want to buy too many like micro SD cards for that thing, so I would just rather buy it, um, physically because they don't do like the self install that both I'm assuming Xbox One does and PlayStation 4 does. I mean like a day one patch or like if a game can't fit on the 32 gigabyte cart, there's a required download or something like that. But for the Switch, that's mostly all physical. All my indie games and stuff like that, that's digital. And if there's like a sale or something like that, what's the price of a Lockhart console? That is an interesting one. So if I put the Series X between $500 and $600, I'm thinking Lockhart would have to be like between. I don't want to say three because to me 300 just seems. I honestly don't see that happening. I'm thinking, well, you know what? Let's put the 300 in there. So between 3 and 400 plus, like 450 or whatever, but that kind of really don't make sense either. So I'm thinking between 3 and 400. I'm thinking, um, will it be there day one? I don't think so. That is a lot of SKUs to have because I think Microsoft is supporting the Xbox One for like the next 2 years, even after the series is out. I think they're going to support it for 2 years or something like that. I'm not too sure. And I believe day one games that's I guess made with the Series X in mind has to run on the Xbox One, which is not surprising but I'm a little apprehensive about that one. Um, so it, we'll just have to see. I don't think it'll be there day one though. I think that's something you want to introduce a little bit later, maybe. That's a lot of SKUs, and I know I don't. I can see parents getting a little confused. If their kid asks for whatever the newest Series X on Christmas, then they have to do that's like 5 SKUs they have to like learn about, and it's a little crazy. So we'll definitely see how that works out. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to the fall. It's gonna be real interesting. I think it's gonna be real interesting for consumers because I don't want to call it a bloodbath, but like who doesn't enjoy two console manufacturers trying to woo me and serenade me. But that's it for this video. Tell me what your thoughts are. There will be timestamps in below. If you're only interested in a specific topic. I appreciate you guys watching and listening. I'll probably do this maybe once a week or twice a week. As I get better in equipment and stuff like that, I'll probably try to get some of my friends over so we can discuss some of this stuff as well. But anyway, thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a fantastic week.